Okay, call the October 14th Lowell Light and Power regular board meeting to order. Charlie, if you'll do roll call.
Chairperson Beecham.
Here.
Vice Chair Fonger.
Here.
Board Member Cadwalder.
Here.
Board Member Crawford. Here. And Board Member Straubin is currently
Absent. I would entertain a motion.
Move to excuse Andrew's absence.
We'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Approval of the agenda. Any changes or anything?
no, sir.
I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Supported.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Approval of the minutes from the September 16th, 2015 regular board meeting. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes from last meeting.
And I'll support it.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Safety moment.
All right, Julie has the safety moment this month.
And I have items that you don't want to plug into a power strip. So it's fine to plug in some things into a power strip, such as your computers, lamps, phones, and other like low electronics. However, appliances that require a lot of power should not be plugged into a power strip. Do not use a power strip for the some of the appliances that are listed. I won't list every single one, but like a hair dryer, your washer and dryer, space heaters should not be plugged into a power strip, blenders, coffee makers, just good items to be safe.
I didn't know the slow cooker, so that's my crock pot.
Yes,
Mhm.
it is. Do not plug it into a power strip. Right
so-
in the wall.
So it's better to have the little outlet on the thing, like 3 or 4, and then have 5 or 6 different cords all coming out of it.
Sure.
That applies to that same message applies to that as well.
Yeah. Good to know. Moving on, and tonight's a voice night, so I'm moving it along.
Oh, it's the voice. We're in good shape, Matt. You're a lucky man today.
Public comment. Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to action items. Charlie?
All right, so the first up is review of the FY 2025 audit. And Matt from Benevolence Report is here, and I'm just going to hand it over to him.
All right. Thank you for having me this evening. And I'm just going to quickly go over the results of our audit. First thing I wanted to go over was there's a letter that's not in the bound audit report. It's just kind of a governance letter. It's a chance for us to give you any comments, things that you could improve for best practice or that sort of thing. And, there wasn't anything that we came across that we felt that we needed to communicate with you guys. We also use this letter to communicate if there's any significant entries or uncorrected entries. And again, there wasn't anything that we came across that, needed an entry or needed, that was not corrected if we had come across anything. And, just in general, staff was great, very responsive about getting us stuff that we asked for and, providing good, clean, audit documentation for us. I was able to, bring out a newer staff this year to work on the audit, and we were able to still get the audit done without any issues, get done in a quick, timely manner. And then as far as on the audit report, if you look, just past the table of contents is the audit opinion, and there's a couple things I wanted to go through on the audit report. There's a section that's titled responsibilities of management, and management's responsibilities are to prepare the financial statements, to do the day-to-day recording of activity, and to prepare and design and implement internal controls to make sure that everything is recorded properly. Then our responsibility as auditors is to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatements and are prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting standards, and in this case, governmental auditing standards. And the way that we do that is, we do sampling, we do some, review of invoices and that sort of thing. We certainly don't look at every transaction, but we look at, a sample of things and just kind of make sure that we have enough evidence to conclude that the statements are prepared accurately. And then the last thing is, in our opinion, the financial statements are free of presented fairly in all material respects and in accordance with accounting principles. So that's a clean opinion, and that's what we're always have the goal of achieving. And then at the very back of the audit, we have a governmental auditing standards report. So this is an opinion we have to, or a report that we provide if the audit is done under governmental auditing standards. In this case, we did an audit in accordance with government auditing standards because the city, which you guys are a fund of, is having a single audit which requires governmental auditing standards. And so this report requires us to, kind of take a look at internal controls and look for deficiencies, as well as look for if there's any non-compliance with grants, laws, or regulations. While we look at these things, we don't look at them, as thoroughly as we look at the financial audit report. So we don't do enough testing where we can provide an opinion, but as a result of what we did see, there's nothing we came across that we determined to be a deficiency in internal controls, and we did not come across any instances of non-compliance with laws, grants, or regulations. And then just kind of as an overall, from our perspective, how the audit went, everything was well put together. And it's a pretty quiet year, from an audit perspective. There wasn't, last year we had the asset retirement obligation that we had removed, and there was a few things here and there, but like this year it was pretty quiet. The net income of the utility was about 1.4 million for this year, and I guess have a healthy fund balance. I'm sure Charlie can go into much more details about activity for the year, but it was a very nice audit. It was a clean audit.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Thank you, Matt. Any specific questions for Matt? And then just from a broad perspective, we're going to take the audit and we'll put it into a broader financial review that we'll do next month, that will take this data as the latest data source, and we'll compile and look at trends over time, and do kind of a follow-up now that presuming that the audit's approved. We'll take this and report back on kind of annual financial trends next month. So, but today's more about just the audit, the process, and getting the audit report from our auditors.
Do you have any new, certainly like new rules, regulations that were put into action this year that affected us?
We technically implemented it's called GASB 101, which was just kind of changed how like accrued sick and vacation are reported on the statements, but it didn't actually have a very large effect. It didn't have any effect actually on Lowell Light and Power's. I mean, how you guys were already reporting it is how they kind of shifted it to be. So
Gotcha.
It just kind of put other entities more in line with kind of how you guys were reporting it. So
Gotcha. The big GASB rule that impacts us the most every year is called GASB 68. It's tied to pension liability, and realizing the, pension line, we end up, long story short, we end up with a large non-cash credit at the end of the year, largely attributed to the surplus contributions that we make that, we're paying a future debt, so we get credit this year, or we're paying not a future debt, we're paying a future liability. So you kind of don't realize all of it in the year you make the contribution. So the net income is somewhat inflated, but some of those are non-cash, non-cash entries, and the big one being the GASB 68 pension entry that we do every year. That
It's been going on for a good 10 years now. So I mean, it's kind of, at this point, it's just how it is. And that pension liability, it'll fluctuate based on market results and how long people are living, and actuaries kind of determine that liability, and it'll fluctuate a little bit from year to year. But
And so every time we put money in that surplus contribution fund, it's gonna have a non-cash effect on the financials.
there's a contributing factor there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors that go into the GASB.
Yeah, but it's.
And I'll be honest, I don't want to claim to be incredibly knowledgeable of the details, because there's a lot of pieces to it. But one of the things that we looked at a little closer this year is what the impact of that surplus contribution, and it makes sense. That some of that surplus contribution ultimately is credited back to the net income, and a non-cash. The cash is gone. The cash is sitting with MERS, and it's in a designated fund there, but not all of that hits the income statement, basically.
I mean, not to like can of worms, I'm just wondering, when we hit the end of the year, and sometimes like last year, maybe before, we had a good chunk of change. We said, let's put this in the surplus contribution fund. At any time, we can move some of that money over and bind it. Just, I guess I'm curious as to, if we ever get to that point of looking at decision, how it will affect financial statements.
Yes.
Because we have some choice there,
Yes.
right? I mean, we could do it today, we could do it 7 years from now, we can do it right at the end, we could do it.
We have a tremendous flexibility.
Yeah.
Before we make any significant moves from that surplus and transition any of those surplus funds into the actual 01 division, our pension division within MERS, we would want to understand what some of those ramifications are going to be. But ultimately, those are not a lot of non-cash things. So there's an impact, but we manage a lot towards cash.
Sure, capital budget, all the.
Yeah, cash makes the world go round. The non-cash entries are important.
Just don't want to run into an unexpected consequence if we choose, what I mean?
Yes, I'd hate to have
relies on.
I'd hate to realize a $300,000-$400,000 expense just because we move money over.
Sure.
I don't want to claim to understand the GASB 68 calculation in depth enough to give a informed answer tonight, but it's something that's on our radar more so this year than ever before, because he's really started digging into it now that we're multiple years of making significant surplus contributions. And they do ultimately flow through and impact the income statement, and impact the net income.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the audit.
So moved.
Supported. It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. So then this will be forwarded on to the city. Awesome, thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. See, having it on a Monday or Tuesday during the voice gets this meeting going along.
Have a good night, Matt.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The one thing I will quickly mention is, Jim's here. So it's about an additional from 24 to 25, $26,000 transferred to the city in payment in lieu of taxes, which was $483,906, which, I mean, we're getting closer to $500,000 that Lowell Light and Power is contributing to the general fund of the city.
Do we have a cap on that at any given point, or as long as you guys are doing well?
No, the city charter establishes the process of the amount just has to be mutually agreed upon by city council and the Light and Power Board. And it's at 4.5% of sales net of the city's sales. We back out any sales from the revenue from the city directly. But there's nothing tied to our net income or our financial health, I guess. That's just another operating expense, or really not operating expense for us. But yeah, there's no real cap. It'll grow as we grow. And I believe in the budget this year I think we do budget for over $500,000 in the FY 26 budget. I have to give.
So, and again, my point bringing it up is just, it's a healthy chunk of change that is helping the city.
What do you say that was 10% of our overall budget?
10% of the general fund.
Yeah, general fund.
Yeah, this year we're budgeting 511,000 in transfers to the city.
So it's probably going up to 12-13% bonus based on them figures. Because I don't think we're gonna go up to $5 million now this year.
Anyway. So again, an important piece of Lowell Light and Power, an important relationship, having a municipally owned power company that certainly.
We wouldn't be getting that from consumers.
Okay, moving on, energy waste reduction plan review and approval.
All right, so as the board is aware, state law change, Michigan Public Act 229 reinstated the energy waste reduction requirements for municipal utilities. So far, the board's been involved in discussions and decisions to not go with the state's program, ultimately go with an MPPA-led program. Last month, the board approved the Retail Energy Improvement Program Project Participation Agreement. Good luck. But it's the participation agreement with MPPA that essentially runs certain programs through MPPA's service project with Franklin Energy. The last piece of kind of the legal requirement is approving the plan. We have Lisa here with us today. She has put a ton of work into this plan, working very closely with MPPA staff. We've had a few conversations about this along the way, but she has put an absolute ton of time into getting this prepared for the board. And I've asked her to just come through and run through the program, or run through the plan, and have a conversation with the board. So I'll hand it over to you, Lisa.
All right. So there's a lot of numbers there. So the part, I'll start with the part that's highlighted in pink. Those are the ones that are like I will be self-implementing. And then the other areas of work are what Franklin Energy will be handling. So they are taking a majority of the programs. We did that to really just comply more with the law, give them a chance to see if they can hit these numbers, because they're big numbers and it's going to be a big reach. So that's what those colorings are. The total, if you want to kind of show the bottom, scroll down a little bit. The totals at the bottom, those numbers are the savings goals do hit the 1.5% of total sales. It's projected in the future, of course, that the law requires. And then the second from the bottom line, it says renewable energy credits. Part of that law is it does allow us to use or meet 10% of that 1.5% with renewable energy credits, which is much more cost effective than any of the other programs. So that will be the first thing that will be budgeted. So that's the 10%, and then the rest is meeting essentially 1.35% of the goal. So this does show a 4-year plan because we have to submit a full 4-year plan, but the beginning of each year or towards the end of each year, we'll review the next year and you can make adjustments. So this is just a plan. I kind of focused more on the year 1 numbers just to make sure those are pretty accurate because that's what we're going to be using moving forward. But we can make updates as we learn more about the programs, what's performing well, if we want to raise budgets in certain areas for certain programs that are doing better than others, and we can move money around and change saving goals for that. So then the low income services section, which is actually low income services and the efficient electrification underneath it, that part has to hit 25% of the total budget by year 2029. So there is a small ramp up. It starts at just shy of 20% goal, and then it goes up like a 1.5% each year to then hit that 25% that's required by 2029. And that was within the goal, like within the law, that you can kind of ramp it up in incremental amounts. They didn't specify what they needed to be, so that's the numbers that actually MPPA determined would be a good ramp up. So with that low income, that is a huge budget increase for low income services. So you can see there's a lot of programs listed under there. New this year would be the weatherization measures and efficient electrification. Both of those we have not had before. And then there's low income kits that Franklin Energy will put together. But yeah, everything else is pretty much things we've done before. But there will be new programs that will help. And then we're hoping, I'm gonna meet with hopefully within the next month to see if we can possibly do a partnership with them for identifying low income customers, because they have to self-declare. So it's hard to kind of find them because there's not like a database that tells us which of our customers are low income and which aren't. So we don't really want to delve into that. So we're hoping to partner with like to identify those customers and kind of give us help with that. Not sure exactly how that's going to work yet, but we are hoping to have that opportunity. And then just program savings, the goals. So how they're kind of calculated is based off of a database that Michigan gives us, just for reference. So everything that we do, appliance recycling, everything, the Michigan gives us a database, MEMD, that tells us what we can claim as savings for each measure. So there is some calculations into making up these goals for that. That's kind of a general overview. And then if you have any questions, go for it.
What's a residential pilot, business pilot?
So those we've had that was with the previous law too. Those are always budgets. They can only be a capped percentage of our overall spending. Education would be 3% and pilot can be 5%. So education we use that money, and that part is what we do like the school programs with. That's what that budget pays for. And you spend the money and you get the savings. So it's a little different program. So we definitely like using those dollars because it goes towards a good cause with schools, especially.
Yeah.
And there is some from business and residential. So we kind of pull from both. And then pilot programs, that's kind of if you come up with something new, you can call it a pilot program for 3 years before you have to switch it into another bucket. So like the energy saving trees is a pilot program currently,
Gotcha.
as an example.
Gotcha. It's a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And the only thing I'll add, from a financial perspective, is cost recovery. We're working with UFS currently right now to do rate designs for next year. One of the pieces we're looking at very closely is the EWR charge itself and how do we fund this? So right now, we're collecting approximately $120,000 from our current EWR charge. You can see from year one project budget, it's down just a little bit, but year one project budget, or the year one budget is $250,000. So just so the board is not surprised when we start getting into rates, there's about another percent in rate increases or rate impacts, 1% roughly, for our customers that will need to be added to our current charge in order to fully fund this program. As a state mandated program, I strongly advocate for full cost recovery because anything that we don't collect directly through an EWR charge ultimately takes away from our capital budget, what we're able to reinvest back in the system. The current budget that we have, so a couple timing challenges, or just one major timing challenge. This follows a calendar year. This does not follow our fiscal year. So there's some challenges with timing and things don't always align great, but over the long haul, we'll budget for this annually. The current budget does not reflect this, but it also doesn't reflect the offsetting revenue that we would need to collect in order to make this a full cost recovery program. So more to come, but we will need to pay for this program.
Is there any breakout of what electrical cost versus the fuel cost? I mean, because isn't this, I mean, we're supplementing.
I think you're thinking of the PA 95
Okay.
program, the low income assistance program,
Okay,
not the low income energy waste reduction program. So all of this money is money that will come to us and go back to our customers. We'll collect it, and through Franklin, it'll be handed back out to our customers.
so this is
For
different than the,
the low income assistance program.
Okay.
Different than low energy outreach program.
okay,
But it is a requirement that the local governing body approve this prior to filing with the MPSC. This does have to be filed with the MPSC prior to the end of the calendar year. And then at the end of the calendar year, there will be additional verification, or at the end of the first year's program, there will be additional verification requirements followed by subsequent filings with the MPSC to show our actual results as well.
some stupid question. I mean, low income, we got this bucket of low income, and then we got another bucket of low income, and how come we just, not us, but because it's mandated, how come it just doesn't all?
They're really they are separate programs. A lot of it is in the law itself, and how the laws are crafted. They're separate laws. But I'd be a better question for legislature. The intent, and really the intention is a little bit different. The intention here is long-term savings, long-term assistance, and ultimately reducing energy burden or energy intensity. But there's a lot of problems and challenges with these types of programs. But yeah, one of the additions was the 25% spending requirement on low income customers for this. The other thing I'll note that in here is all other measures have to pass a cost effectiveness test to basically to test to see do the benefits outweigh the costs. The low income programs don't have to meet that same threshold. So low income customers, it's really the law is geared towards providing them assistance, even if it's not necessarily cost effective. Where your C&I programs and your regular residential programs have to the benefits have to outweigh, the calculated benefits have to outweigh the costs.
So, so with these programs that Franklin will be administering, will our customers be getting emails or mailing from them informing them about the program? No.
No, so
Or-
they are like our vendor.
Okay,
So they
So
come
we're-
to me with marketing materials that I can then send out to customers if I wish to.
okay, gotcha.
Sometimes I use that, sometimes I use my own, but yes, so they shouldn't really directly
Okay. So
reach out to
that's part of,
customers.
that's
They
our
can-
administration portion of it is that, okay.
Yes, then, but like on the application, it will have Franklin's phone number, so if they have questions on the application, there is some contact with our customers directly with the customer. So I guess it is a mixture,
Mhm.
but I don't believe that they send out any marketing. I think we do that. They supply some marketing, but they
Okay.
don't sell it.
And different utilities handle it differently. Some utilities want to be more hands-off. It's a priority for us to be involved in the process. We want to have a relationship with our customers. We want to be the face that our customers know, trust, and rely on. And Franklin does a great job, but Lisa is going to represent Light and Power differently because she's part of our culture, part of
Right.
who we are. Franklin again would do a good job, but they're also working for 20 different municipals with 20 different preferences. Our preferences, let's have
Yeah,
Lisa.
I much prefer, the model that we have, so I'm
Yeah.
just
No,
making
yeah,
sure
absolutely.
that they're not going to get surprise communication from them, okay?
The goal is to avoid it.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that are new this year. Franklin knows that it's a priority. It's one of our priorities to make sure we're engaged with our customers and that we are part of that conversation, that we are inviting them in instead of just Franklin, not going through us. We act as the liaison basically between our customers and Franklin.
Mhm.
Looks like Lisa will have to fill in 2 more purples or pinks, whatever you call it. It's marketed.
Well,
Keep
that's
talking.
okay. I mean, that's part of my job anyway, but yeah. So, and like with Franklin too, for example, they actually built it into the contract that if Franklin Energy is coming to meet with one of our customers on site here, they're required to let us know so that we can come with them, which I really appreciated. because
Okay.
They have shown up day of and like, oh, we're going to meet King Millie. And I'm like, I needed to know. So it'll be good.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve the plan as presented.
Yeah, most, yes. Wow, why can't I? Yeah, so moved. How about that?
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. On to informational items.
All right, so this is my part. So not going to get into a ton of details on performance data. Happy to answer any questions, but we're in 3rd month. Really, the only thing I'll highlight is under the residential sales, you can really see how weather is impacting. Weather impacts residential sales drastically. July and August, we had by far the best residential sales months or the highest volume of sales out of the residential class and over the previous 4 years. And then this month, things dipped significantly lower. So again, you just see, we talk about it every year, talk about throughout the year, the impact of weather. If you scroll down to the cost of average cost per kilowatt hour, not to be expected, the PCA remains high. And we saw that reduction in residential sales, so that drives up the average cost of power or average cost per kilowatt hour. On to cash, the one thing I will note here is you can see the purple checkered line at the top is starting to rebuild. That's our bond redemption fund. You see a big reduction moving from June to July because we make large Principal and interest debt payment in July. We'll make a smaller principal and interest payment in June, but you really notice that reduction in the July reporting because of the payment that goes out in July, seeing it grow. You also notice a reduction in the equipment replacement fund to be expected. The forestry truck came in. So cash is moving along as we expected. And as next month, when we review long-term financial or longer financial trends, you'll see that cash level does continue to steadily grow as our expenses continue to grow. But since we've added the 120-day line, the 120 days of cash line and the 140 days of cash dotted line, you can see on an annual basis that annual stair step and what we need to retain from a cash perspective to keep pace with that 120-day target. Other than that, I'll scroll down to the PCA. PCA, again, you see that continued upward pressure on the PCA to be expected coming out of the summer, as there's some of the large summer expenses with transmission continue to hit and get factored into the PCA. So we're seeing that continued upward trend in the PCA, and it follows trends in overall cost increases with power supply. And that is performance data. Any questions? We'll roll on to outage reports, and I'll hand it over to Zach.
Yeah, so we had a busy month last month. We had 7 outages, 3 of which we talked about at last month's board meeting. I'll go over them again though. Circuit 202 tripped at the sub. Full circuit was off for 19 minutes, total of 527 customers. 19 minutes for a sub trip is insane. I can't say enough good about the guys getting out there and doing it, the office staff receiving the phones, relaying messages to us to make our job easier in the field as a team. Just that's a team effort there, and it's amazing. We had the squirrel on 28th Street, Lincoln Lake Amity area. We had a squirrel. Avery and High Street, we had a fuse that went back. That was part of our voltage conversion project. One of the new fuses we put in was just malfunction from the factory. Not much we can do about that. Overley had a tree limb come down. Overley had 2 squirrels. Overley was a problem child last month. Yeah, we got
A lot of short duration outages. I think that can't be overlooked. Zach highlighted the 19-minute outage, but any outage that you can respond to, patrol the lines, correct the issue, communicate effectively, and get the power back on in under an hour is incredible response time.
Yeah.
I'll add to that too. Not all of these we were at work for. So some of these that are, and it wasn't the 39-minute one we were actually here for, I believe. So some of these we came in from home and had them on in under 40 minutes. That's extremely impressive.
Mhm.
So
I don't know if I saw this or saw this in your report when you get down to scan on your report or whatever. Just want to note that Avery is spelled wrong.
oh yeah, that's
Those are just quick notes. Those are just quick notes for the outage reports, though. Yeah. All right.
My point being is I did read it all.
Point improvement.
There's the voice, the voice.
All right. Any questions on the outage report? All right, then we will dig into the income statement. Again, we're 3 months in, so trends are starting to show themselves. Nothing that's of any concern. Reported on distribution expenses being slightly over budget in the first couple months. They continued, but things are continue to get brought back in line. And they will throughout the year as more time spent on capital budgets, go all the way to the net income, recorded a positive net income of $10,000. This is the time of year where our expenses increase as we're paying for some summer power supply expenses and not, the timing challenges. I know we talked about timing quite a bit, but it's normally the time of year where we expect some negative net incomes to still have a positive net income. Things are working appropriately. The PCA is recovering those increased expenses, and we've not been hit with any. There's lots of ebbs and flows, but nothing outside of the normal ebbs and flows, I would say. So we're positioned well after 3 months in the year from a net income standpoint, behind last year, but we knew that last year was the last couple of years have been elevated net income. So sitting in a good place and sitting above budget or ahead of budget right now. Any questions on the income statement? All right, we'll roll on to capital projects, and I'll go down to the summary real quick. A lot of time, as you can tell from Zach's report, a lot of time last month was spent on voltage conversion projects. That's everything up Grendel. I lose track of some of the G names. Grendel, everything up Grendel, getting ready for James Street, but a lot of that's the voltage conversion that you would expect. And then just preparing for the underground projects. We're getting geared up for Little G Drive, but there's been a lot of work that has been started and going to start seeing some projects start to wrap up. James Street is going to wrap up, so you'll see some more voltage conversion work hit that, but there will be voltage conversion work throughout the fiscal year. So even though we're going to finish up James Street, there will be some voltage conversion work that continues on West Main Street. So that number will continue to grow, but everything is moving along as expected. Any questions? All right. And with that, we're on to department reports, and I'll hand it over to Zach for the distribution report.
Stand by my report.
Any questions for Zach? All right, we will roll on to generation report. Casey?
I stand by my report.
All right, any questions for Casey? Record time here. Please pick a good one. Pick a good one. And I will highly encourage if you didn't get a chance before the meeting, or you weren't able to read these in detail, there's a ton of information in all the reports. Specifically this month, it seems like a lot of things are going on. There's a lot of irons in the fire. And with that, I teed up Julie for the office report. They've had a very busy report as well.
We did, lots of good items. I'm actually gonna stand by it, but I'm gonna talk more about it when we go to the pictures.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. I won't quite stand on my report, but I want to really highlight the safety update. So the quote there in the safety update is a direct quote from the report that I received following a crew observation. We had our safety consultant, Alpha Omega, came in and spent pretty much a whole day doing safety training. They did crew observations, took the wood chipper out. I had an opportunity to participate in quite a bit of the meetings, but these people aren't clueless. They're pretty good at what they do. And if crews put on a show because the safety guy's there, they're going to pick up on it. And I think that's a lot of what he's saying here is he didn't get a sense of any putting a show on. He truly captured the day-to-day work practices, and we continue to impress them, and they continue to use the safety culture that's really been cultivated down here as an example of what other utilities should strive for. So just wanted to commend the guys, specifically there. Safety culture doesn't just stop with the guys in the field that you think of as having the more safety sensitive positions. It extends to the generation department. It extends to the office, and there's safety activities going on all over the place. Other than that, you see a lot's going on. We started looking at employee benefit brokers. Julie hits on that in her report, but there's a lot going on. Also wanted to mention that we've kicked off our process to work with Utility Financial Solutions. So just bring that up because 2026 calendar year rate designs will be presented to the board either November or December for adoption, and want to just keep the board anticipating that and not surprised. Again, the EWR piece is going to be a significant piece. I anticipate an equal to or larger rate impact to fund the EWR plan compared to what we actually need for our operating plans or our operating expenses. And then the software conference and software conversion process. We actually had a meeting just today, and Julie, Megan, and I are all on the same page, moving with some thoughts on moving forward with selecting a software vendor to replace our current enterprise software. So customer information, all the accounting, billing, work tickets, pretty much everything that's utility specific in that package of software. We're getting very close to making the recommendation to the board, but I want to really highlight that process because we've been with our current vendor for 25 years. So this is not a decision that we take lightly. I look back, we've been working through the evaluation process for about 14 months now. So a lot is going on behind the scenes. It's a heavy lift to convert your software, and it's a big expense. We're looking at about somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000 in overall expenses to do the conversion. So I want to just keep the board in the loop on that process because it's a substantial expense and really critical to the future of light and power, because we're looking at this as a 20 to 30 year decision that we're making on behalf of future generations for light and power. So not something we're taking lightly. Any specific questions on my report? Any questions for any of the reports? That we're going to roll on. I put this in the agenda a little bit different this time and put an actual agenda item on there for the pictures. This is gone. Alyssa pulls these together every month and they look awesome. So your first, we had a great attendance at the fall conference. I want to thank Craig for joining us at the NPPA fall conference. I thought it was a really good lineup. It was a very diverse lineup. Who knew that one of the nation's experts in fire code related to battery energy storage systems is the fire chief in Brighton, Michigan, which was kind of interesting, but fascinating discussion. Always great to hear from Pat Boland, who did a presentation, but overall, MMEK pulled together a great conference. I guess I missed somewhere along the way. They decided to highlight us at a break and all the activities. I missed that.
A couple times because I think there was a video that we have that they also played.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I missed all that. I was out talking apparently.
Yeah.
It was one of the videos about school tours.
Yeah. Cool.
Always
I don't remember what it was, but now that you say it, now it's coming back to me. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I know they played the impact report video. I saw that, but overall it's great. I don't know if you have anything to add from a conference standpoint, or if you want to get to board comments, or where you want to.
I was gonna cover that in board comments. We'll just keep rolling. Yeah.
All right. And then Julie, you want to say anything about the blood drive?
I do. We had a blood drive in honor of Jamie Detroit. And as you can see in the pictures, we had a lot of employees participate. Every employee was involved, helping out back there. We had it in the back of the office, portion. And it was just really a great overall camaraderie, great day, very positive. There's a lot of people that knew Ryan, knew Jamie. It was great to see with the community and family members that were from out of the city. But just wanted to mention that we did get some notifications of some people that did donate the blood, and there was different locations that their blood went to. And just wanted to highlight those places that we've listed here. And just thought that was really neat, how Versity keeps the blood local, and how we're helping other communities with our donations.
Yeah, it really was awesome. I'd like to, we talked about doing it every year. I'd love to make it part of Public Power Week every year to do this. I think the Versity crew was incredibly, I would say surprised, but they're incredibly pleased with how the event went. I know a lot of in memory of.
They need to expand.
Yeah, I would say, I was gonna mention that, so the goal was 22 pints. We hit 40 and had to turn away some people, Perry being one of them. We ran out of time. We turned away, I believe, 3 people. But yeah, I think most, from what I gathered, most of the in memory of blood drives, they get 15, 16, maybe. I'm kind of looking your way, Zach,
17 is their typical. They said, the one guy leading it said the last one he was just at like a month ago, he sat and read a book during it. Like, it was pretty slow. So they were really impressed. They already want to book us for next year.
Yeah, there was zero downtime for the diversity crew. You saw it was a really cool day. It went to a great cause. So
Definitely.
and it was fun to watch some of the guys who are the biggest babies in the company donate blood. Yeah, Zach did just fine, but we'll just say some of the people in that picture there that aren't me and Zach, we're not nearly as thrilled with giving blood as the 2 in the middle. They were happy.
There's one that was a little nervous and couldn't, and
Oh yeah, there was one that got turned away because they were too nervous to
his blood pressure was through the roof.
medically pass. But
Yeah,
really,
it was just a good day.
it really was. It was a great day. This was brand new. So to see such an awesome success year 1, it really was awesome.
Yeah. And then the outage, did you want to talk about that? Or?
Yeah. And then Zach, would you mind touching base on that last picture?
Over on James Street, we're laying out all the wire to pull in, to have the tree wire there. We happened to notice this, underground riser termination. We call it a pothead, but that's the technical name of it. That rubber coating there is supposed to not have a hole in it.
A big blowout, not supposed to.
Yeah, so that's not really a great thing. And then it's really hard to see, but in that hole, you have like the steel piece. Like right there, that there. That is proper. However, that black piece right there, when somebody made that up, they forgot to skin the semicon. So that is supposed to be 6 7/8 of an inch back from the middle of the termination head. So somehow it made it a very long time like that with that blow. But we found that we had to do emergency outage, which once we know about that, we gotta fix it, so we're not coming out in the middle of the night and having a really long outage. Cause that would be extremely hard to find in the middle of the night. So we had a quick, I think it was 25 or 35 minute outage, got it all changed out. And we're all good now, but it was just good find by the guys, because that could have easily been overlooked.
How big is that piece? What is?
It's, I mean, probably about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's all, and you can see it's like
Bravo.
all, that's all the way up at the top of the pole.
Yeah.
So until you fly a bucket and you get right up eye level, you can't, you're not really gonna be able to see it until it burns up. Still burns up at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Oh,
but that's definitely an outage avoided.
Yeah.
That's an outage. It might not have been tomorrow. It's lasted who knows how long, but at some point it is gonna fail. And Murphy's Law says it'll fail on a really bad time.
Yeah.
right.
So,
Definitely. Bravo.
yes, great work. That is the pictures. I'll hand it back over to you.
Okay, schedule the meetings on your schedule, just so that you know. So the city council has canceled their
Yes.
second meeting in October, so their next meeting will be November 3rd,
Day before election.
day before election, so. With that, our next regular board meeting will be November 11th. Board comment. Tina?
What a great audit, you guys. And, I had a couple words with Matt before he, went into it, you know, and I teased him, I says, could you make this just 5 minutes, you know? He started laughing, but, because he found, you know, it sounded great and things are moving smoothly. And we already had the way that we're doing things already in place, and other people are looking to follow us, how we're doing it, because it's going so well. That's the big badge of honor that I carry with me to none other than Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. We all heard this. But I do want to bring to Charlie's attention that my vice president of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan's son will be here for the tour. And he actually sent me an email today and said, hey, we're coming down, blah, blah, blah. He's really excited because he's heard a lot about Lowell Light and Power. And so he can't wait to get here. So, and he is, of course, the vice president that raises kangaroos.
The kangaroos, yes.
So there you go. So that's all I got.
Jim?
I had a blast this past Saturday working with Charlie out on the river. River walk, the festival with the chili and everything like that.
Yeah.
The gals from the office did a fantastic job putting stuff down on Saturday. The line crew that helped on Friday, loading pumpkins, carrying them out of there, doing that part of it. So I had a great time, and I look forward to next year as well.
And I want to thank you, Jim. It's a blast. I think Jim and I take the Carney roll and we roll them in, but I think we hit the nail. I think we hit the nail on the head with moving the pumpkin decorating onto the showboat. I'll get a little presumptuous and say it's been great for the showboat. I know it's been great for us. Ton of great publicity, and it's a lot of fun. The kids really enjoy it. There's times that it is crazy in the showboat. Didn't help that Bruce came in for the first round of pictures and the place was completely empty. And I think it was the only 10 minutes of 6 hours that it was completely empty. There were other times that I held the door open to let one family in with a stroller and stood there for 10 minutes because there was people in and out constantly, tons of kids. We gave away more pumpkins this year than we did last year,
Wow.
close to 300.
We guessed 325 to 350.
Wow.
They pivoted at the last minute and did an awesome job. Heidi's is incredibly gracious and donates all the pumpkins.
Yeah.
This year the pumpkins were a little bit bigger than we expected. Some were very large, so Lisa made a call on Friday and asked for another bin of smaller pumpkins. Steve Shade got up early, went down to Heidi's, picked up more pumpkins. We shuffled those onto the boat. The chamber organized a touch a truck and paint a plow. Steve came in and put a bucket truck in that, but it really was an awesome event. Love being on the showboat, and yeah, we'd love to continue doing that. in the
Our
future.
job is to embarrass parents, whether they wanna take their kids in, I mean, their kids up, and then all of a sudden, yeah, mom, I wanna do it, so they end up going in there, but I was kind of a little embarrassed for myself. There was, two young boys about my grandson's ages, 5 and 7, and they're with this guy with that gray beard and everything like that part of it, and they were hesitant. I say, go with your grandpa going. Well, it was their dad, not their grandpa. And I can remember because my son just turned 48. He's also got that look too, and he's got the kids that are 5 and 7. So, yep.
Jim was even on dog watching duty at one point.
Oh yeah, I'm Fred.
Fred, yeah, Jim hung out with Fred the
Yeah, we
Beagle.
wouldn't let the dog on the boat, so I took the leash by it. But
But another team, I mean, Public Power Week really highlights the team effort. Starting the week with the blood drive. We did a breakfast before. Great way to get everybody together, came together at a great time. But throughout the week, between the office staff getting all the giveaways and everything ready, organizing everything, getting all the publicity out there, everybody donating blood, getting set up for Harvest Fest across the board. It really is a pretty amazing week, and it's just a good reminder that we've got a really great team.
yeah, and Mike Smith, who usually tears down the boats and cleans them up, he said it was almost like he didn't have to do anything other than sweep the floor. That was just well done, and the staff took care of themselves. So good job there.
Daniel,
Congrats to Jared, 3 years. Always good work on the audit. It's good to hear from the auditors with change of guard, the new overseeing partner. Sounds like new staff on the audit itself. Everyone's covering, even people who are not necessarily helping directly on the audit are covering for when the auditors are here, taking up everyone's time and annoying everybody. So,
Been there, huh?
yeah. I've been that person. Yeah, I know what it's like. Asking all the questions in the wrong way at the wrong time. Yeah. It sounds like everyone put a lot of work and planning and help into Public Power Week. So thanks for everybody, from the pumpkins to the blood drive to, I'm sure there's 15 other things that happened. The kits, the camp, yeah, everything. And then, I just wanted to say thanks for being coming over to all our meetings, Jim, and contributing and notifying me if some things are happening. I was looking at the master plan earlier because you mentioned it last meeting. And I saw one of the notes. So those things are they're great, and thanks for being here.
Greg,
I guess start off with, it was honor and a privilege to be able to go to the MMEA conference in Muskegon. A lot of topics, relevant topics covered there. It was good to see our people there, networking with people, other, light and power agencies, and learning from them. We had a great speech from the the CEO of APPA, and just talking about what's going on in Washington and all of the changes that seem to be happening at breakneck speed. But, my sense is that they have a, good program going on down there to keep public power's voice in the conversation. Another one was about, another speaker was about riding the storm out, or are you ready for the storm? And, I think we participate in the mutual aid program very well. There are other agencies that probably aren't as engaged as they could be, but this was a good opportunity for them to learn how to be more a part of that program. there was another speaker on resiliency. I mean, I think we're, as an organization here, we're looking at that, making sure, we're growing for the future and hardening our infrastructure and all of that. So, and upgrading it. The biggest takeaway I had is the speech on understanding energy storage systems. And I'm not going to go into it deeply, just that lithium ion batteries, I think, come with a lot of risk. And I think by the time Lowell and Power is going to be looking at getting into the energy storage game, the other technologies that are coming down the road that are less toxic to the environment and less less volatile to house, because lithium ion comes with a great fire risk. I think by the time we're ready to jump into that, I think other technologies that are much less risky in a lot of ways will be the way to go. Yeah, I guess that's my biggest takeaway. If anything, if we're looking into energy storage systems in the future, I think we should, I think it's prudent to not jump into lithium ion and actually wait for the other safer technologies to mature.
What are the safe technologies? What are they talking about?
Well, there are different.
They're not even there.
They're not even there. They didn't really talk about those, and that's just my sense of what I'm reading from the industry, and as far as but what they really did talk about is the risk of lithium ion housing it, the risk of fire, and how complicated it is to contain that when they have a runaway event.
Yeah, because one of the interesting things is lithium ion batteries, once they start gassing, they intentionally set them on fire. And then you let it park for 12 hours. And once it starts gassing, you have to essentially get rid of the explosive risk. And the way to get rid of the explosive risk is set it on fire. He's actually the gentleman that spoke was the fire chief, or is the fire chief from Brighton. And he says that you can actually hear like a barbecue lighter click, 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 click. And it's a fire starter. And once they set on fire, he says the best thing you can do is, step back for 12 hours. It was interesting. And he was incredibly knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where they found that connection, but pretty cool.
Yeah.
Guy from Escanaba, and he's buddies with him.
That's what it was.
Trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to talk about. No, I guess I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. One, I'd like to thank the staff and the office staff. The audit is their Super Bowl. I mean, that's where they shine. We talk about, Zach and his crews and how they get the power on and everything. Without the office staff doing their thing, their responsibilities, let me say that every employee at Lowell Light and Power is key to the operation of how efficient and how Lowell Light and Power runs. Without the office staff, doing the billing, doing the audit, doing all those things that they do, kind of in the back where they don't get a lot of recognition because, we see the linemen are out there doing their things and getting the power running and getting it back on, and the public sees that, but they don't always see what our office staff goes through, how they interact with our customers. And I, I can't say enough great things about our office staff or about any of our employees. I just, I think I've always said we're all replaceable. With that being said, I would hate to have to replace any of our employees, any of our management, any of our board members. I mean, I just think from the bottom up, from the top down, I can't say enough great things about it. An interesting thing, if you watch 60 Minutes, the previous chairman of the board of the APPA was on there. Did you see that?
I'll send out this, I didn't want to just send a link out, because if you just click on it, you would get, it'll make sense after the fact, but yes. I'm gonna send out a link to the 60 Minutes story that was from this Sunday, but yeah, Nick Waller, the past chair of the APPA board, from Littleton, Massachusetts. They actually had Chinese government had hacked it, well, the Chinese government denies it, but had hacked into their water and electric system and were laying dormant, basically. So watch the article or watch the story, please. It will highlight 100% of why we do what we do from a cybersecurity, from a IT perspective. But yeah, you'll see Littleton, Massachusetts is not all that different from Lowell. And it's actually right next to Lowell, Massachusetts, which we do get phone calls about. But yes, 60 Minutes article, it'll be in your inbox tomorrow, I would say. I'll get it sent out to you.
So it was, the whole thing was interesting and what the possibilities and not, well, you'll see it. And, it's big thing was keeping your eye on the ball. And kind of going from there. Was it, they're literally replacing everything.
They rebuilt their network.
And it came with a hefty price tag. With that,
One thing to add.
Yep.
About the conference, our newest, I believe, employee, Alyssa, correct? Or is she
Close to the
close to the
newest,
newest?
yeah.
Anyway, she attended the
It was
conference
full-time in the office.
and there was a question and answer session and she jumped right in with a question and participated in the conference. And I thought that was pretty neat for a first time conference attendee, at least with our organization. She jumped in and
Yes.
asked some good,
Great question. And we recognized her with the office staff for doing that, and appreciate the acknowledgement.
So-
I do want to, and I should have done this while Matt was here, but to pile on a little bit about the audit. The audit goes smooth, not because there's pieces that are the processes, there's pieces that are the people. More importantly, the processes that have been established that make the audit go smooth year over year are a product of the people doing it and establishing it. It's something that the office staff works on every single month. There's pieces of preparing for the audit. So I think a lot of people think of the audit as a moment in time. The auditors are here for a week. They go through everything for that week, but it really is monthly prep, collecting the data, making sure that when the auditors ask for something, more times than not, we've already provided it, or they've already provided it. Saying we is very generous. They've already provided it to the auditors. It's just a matter of getting them to the location where it is. But can't say enough about how awesome Megan and Julie do to get ready for the audit. And then the week of the audit, we know that all those questions are going to come at the most opportune times. But they do a really great job with that. And, you know, the audit it's a team effort, but there's two individuals that really make the audit go incredibly well every year. Thank you, Julie and Megan.
And one more thing before,
You got 45 minutes.
okay. It's gonna be, it is, I forgot during, this time last month to mention that we were in the Currents magazine again last month. And I just wanted to congratulate, I believe, Lisa, you were part of that.
I think it was the article you wrote.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't started.
About the impact.
I just
report.
wrote one for this next one too.
Oh, yeah?
So that I sent in today, so we'll have about the blood draft.
So yeah, good job for getting us in there last month. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
it sounds like it would be a hit. Yeah, next time. Yeah.
We like seeing our names.
Try to get in there.
Harry, I don't know what your hurry is, because when they're done singing, they're either gonna save or steal.
Yeah.
That's what it's been.
I don't even understand what you just said.
He does. He does. It's automatic.
Snoop Dogg, baby.
He's got my vote. I don't care what he's doing, he's got my vote.
He's cool.
Do you vote for him?
No, he.
Oh.
He's a.
Oh, we can turn it on here.
I wouldn't pay for that service.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
We'll move to adjourn the meeting.
And I'll support that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Adjourned.